Stop the clock in your mind, my beloved child. I know exactly what you were doing the moment before you clicked on this message. I saw your eyes staring blankly at the screen, but your mind was a million miles away. You were projecting your spirit into tomorrow, running through a terrifying, exhausting maze of what-ifs. You were calculating the problems. You were obsessing over the conversations you need to have. You were staring at the mountain of obligations, the unpaid bills, the fractured relationships, and the impossible expectations, wondering how on earth your fragile, exhausted body is going to carry it all when the sun rises. You clicked on this video because you are drowning in what heaven calls the tyranny of the what-if. I am stepping directly into the physical atmosphere of your room tonight with a strict divine command of grace. I am wrapping my hands around your racing, terrified thoughts, and I am pulling you completely, firmly back into this exact second. Look into my eyes. Listen to the fierce, unshakable, roaring truth of your Creator. Stop stressing over tomorrow. I have already handled it. You think that by worrying, you are preparing yourself. You believe the tragic, exhausting lie that if you just agonize over a problem long enough, if you just lose enough sleep analyzing every possible disaster, you will somehow find a way to control the outcome. But my child, worry is not a shield. Worry is a thief. It does not empty tomorrow of its sorrow. It only empties today of its strength. Listen to the absolute, foundational command I spoke through my son during his Sermon on the Mount. I did not offer this as a casual suggestion. I gave it as a blueprint for human survival. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Matthew 6:34. You are trying to carry Tuesday's burdens with Monday's grace. You are trying to fight tomorrow's battles before I have even given you the armor for them. I dispense my grace daily, like the morning dew. When you illegally trespass into the future to agonize over a problem that hasn't even arrived, your knees buckle, your chest tightens, and you feel like you are going to break. It is too heavy for you because you were never ever designed to carry the weight of time. I want to take you into a profound, breathtaking prophetic scene from the ancient scriptures because I need you to know that I do not judge you for your exhaustion. I do not look at your anxiety and call you a failure. Let us look at the story of the great prophet Elijah. He was one of the most powerful, faithful, and anointed men to ever walk the earth. He had just called down fire from heaven. He had just defeated the false prophets. But immediately after his greatest victory, a sudden, terrifying threat arose against his life. Queen Jezebel promised to kill him by the very next day. Elijah did not respond with unshakable faith. He did not stand tall. The scriptures record a heartbreakingly human reaction. Elijah was afraid and ran for his life. He came to a broom bush, sat down under it, and prayed that he might die. "I have had enough, Lord," he said. "Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors." 1 Kings 19:3-4. Look at the raw, vulnerable intimacy of that moment. One of the greatest prophets in biblical history sat down in the dirt, completely paralyzed by anxiety over his tomorrow. He was so utterly exhausted, so entirely broken by the stress of his calling, that he literally asked me to let him die. He said, "I have had enough." Have you not spoken those exact words to me in the dark of your room, my beautiful child? Have you not sat on the edge of your bed, tears streaming down your face, whispering, "Lord, I have had enough. I am so tired. I cannot fight another battle. I cannot face another disappointment. I do not want to wake up and do this all over again tomorrow." I hear you. I see the deep, dark circles of spiritual fatigue under your eyes. But I want you to look at how I responded to Elijah's breakdown. I did not send a lightning bolt from heaven to punish him for his lack of faith. I did not appear in a whirlwind to lecture him about his anxiety. I did not scream at him to get up and be strong. Then he lay down under the bush and fell asleep. All at once an angel touched him and said, "Get up and eat." He looked around, and there by his head was some bread baked over hot coals and a jar of water. He ate and drank, and then lay down again. 1 Kings 19:5-6. When my greatest prophet collapsed under the crushing weight of his tomorrow, I did not give him a sermon. I gave him a nap. I gave him a warm meal. And then I let him go back to sleep. My beloved, exhausted warrior, I am offering you the exact same divine intervention tonight. I am not asking you to muster up a fake, manufactured faith. I am not asking you to figure out a 10-step plan to solve your financial, emotional, or familial crises before midnight. I am asking you to go to sleep. I want you to physically engage your body in this exact moment so that we can extract the toxic venom of anxiety from your nervous system. You cannot receive my peace if your body is actively bracing for a war. Wherever you are resting, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to literally unclench your fists. You have been walking around with your hands curled into tight balls, desperately trying to hold on to control. Open your palms, let them rest flat beside you. Now, focus on your stomach. You have a tight, painful knot of dread sitting right in your solar plexus. I want you to intentionally, consciously soften your belly. Let it completely relax. Take a massive, incredibly deep breath of air in through your nose. Pull the pure, untainted oxygen of heaven all the way down into your lungs, expanding your chest fully. Hold it for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Now, as you exhale with a deep, heavy, authoritative sigh, I want you to physically drop your shoulders away from your ears. Speak this anointed, liberating truth out loud into the atmosphere of your room. Let your own ears hear the terrifyingly beautiful sound of your surrender. I resign as the architect of my tomorrow. I drop the burden of control. My God is already in my future, and I am allowed to rest in the present. Do you feel the sudden, staggering wave of warmth moving down your spine? Do you feel the unexplainable lightness spreading through your chest? That is the physical manifestation of my Holy Spirit washing away the deep, acidic residue of your panic. You are safe. You are allowed to stop figuring it out. You see, my child, while you are agonizing over tomorrow, you are forgetting a magnificent theological truth. I do not live in a linear timeline. I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am already standing in the very tomorrow that you are so terrified of. I have already walked into the courtroom of your legal battles. I have already stepped into the hospital room of your medical concerns. I have already visited the bank accounts, the boardrooms, and the fractured relationships that are keeping you awake tonight. And because I am already there, I have already pre-resolved the crisis. I have initiated what heaven calls the pre-resolved timeline. The problem that looks like an immovable mountain to you right now has already been cast into the sea by my hand. The door that you think is permanently locked has already been taken off its hinges. You are losing sleep over a battle that I won 3 hours before your alarm clock is even set to ring. I am telling you to step out of the illusion of control. As it is written, can any one of you by worrying add a single hour to your life? Matthew 6:27. Your worrying changes absolutely nothing in the physical realm, but it violently destroys your peace in the spiritual realm. I am putting a strict, non-negotiable embargo on your thoughts for the rest of this night. You are no longer permitted to rehearse your tragedies. But as the profound, heavy peace of this incredible revelation begins to settle into your bones, and as your breathing finally slows to a healthy, natural rhythm, I must issue a severe, highly critical warning about the moment you wake up tomorrow. Your mind is calm right now, but your brain has a deeply ingrained toxic habit. For years, the very first thing you have done upon waking is reaching for your anxieties, putting them on like a heavy, rusted backpack before your feet even touch the floor. Tomorrow morning, the exact second you open your eyes, the enemy is going to attempt a highly deceptive psychological ambush. He knows he cannot steal the solutions I have placed in your tomorrow, so he is going to attempt to steal your posture. He is going to deploy a spiritual attack that heaven calls the yoke of the morning dread. If you do not know how to identify this invisible yoke tomorrow morning, and if you do not know the exact, ancient biblical protocol of the lily that you must execute in the first 60 seconds of consciousness, you will violently pull all of tonight's anxieties right back into your chest. You will accidentally reset the clock of your own exhaustion. Listen incredibly closely to my next instruction, my beautiful resting child. If you do not learn how to open your eyes tomorrow, the peace you feel right now will evaporate like mist. The action you take in your bed tomorrow morning will determine whether you walk in divine ease or whether you volunteer for another agonizing lap in the wilderness. Settle completely into the pristine, untouchable majesty of this absolute stillness, my beautiful resting child. The chaotic, exhausting noise of yesterday has been permanently silenced. The crushing burden of trying to control the future has been lifted off your chest. I have stepped into your tomorrow. I have secured the perimeter of your destiny, and you are entirely, flawlessly safe in my hands. But as the deep velvet darkness of the night eventually gives way to the breaking light of the morning, I must prepare your mind for a highly specific, deeply manipulative psychological and spiritual ambush. I warned you about the moment you wake up. I know the secret, painful reality of your mornings. For years, the very hardest part of your entire day has been the first 60 seconds of consciousness. You open your eyes, and before you can even stretch your limbs or take a full breath, a massive, suffocating, invisible iron collar is dropped directly over your neck. A dark, heavy fog rolls over your brain. Your heart rate violently spikes. A panicked voice in your head immediately begins printing out a terrifying, exhaustive list of every single problem you have to solve, every bill you cannot pay, and every person you have to please. You feel a profound, paralyzing lack of motivation, and you lie there staring at the ceiling, feeling like you are already defeated before your feet have even touched the floor. Heaven calls this demonic, psychological attack the yoke of the morning dread. The enemy knows he cannot stop the sun from rising. He knows he cannot stop the fresh mercies I have prepared for you. So, his only remaining strategy is to hijack your nervous system, the exact fraction of a second you wake up, hoping to blindfold you with anxiety so you cannot see the miracles waiting in your living room. He wants to convince you that the peace you found the night before was just a dream, and that the brutal, exhausting reality of the struggle is your only truth. I am stepping directly into the center of your morning right now, to violently and permanently shatter that lie. Listen to the fierce, protective, roaring truth of your Creator. You were not born to wake up in terror. I want to take you into one of the most breathtaking, liberating, and profoundly beautiful teachings my son ever delivered on the earth. He was standing on a mountainside, looking at a massive crowd of people who were just like you. They were exhausted, they were poor, they were terrified of the Roman Empire, terrified of starvation, and suffocating under the heavy, agonizing weight of their daily survival. He looked at their tired, panic-stricken faces, and he did not give them a 10-point strategy for working harder. He pointed to the wild flowers growing silently, beautifully on the hills around them, and he issued a profound spiritual directive. And why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers of the field grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? Matthew 6:28-30. Read that staggering, majestic truth again in your spirit, my child. They do not labor or spin. Look at the lily. The lily does not wake up in a cold sweat, terrified that the sun will not rise. The lily does not hustle, grind, or hyperventilate over how it is going to gather enough water to survive. The lily simply exists. It rests in the soil I placed it in. It trusts the architecture of my provision. It stays completely still, and because it rests in absolute surrender, I clothe it in a vibrant, breathtaking glory that even the wealthiest king in human history could not replicate. You have been toiling. You have been spinning. You have been exhausting yourself, trying to force your own petals to open, trying to manufacture your own rain, trying to protect yourself from the wind. You have been treating yourself like an orphan in a barren wasteland, completely forgetting that you are a highly prized, infinitely cherished flower planted directly in the royal gardens of the Creator. Tomorrow morning, when your eyes open and the yoke of the morning dread attempts to drop onto your neck, I will not allow you to accept it. You are going to activate an elite, deeply physiological spiritual defense mechanism. I am outfitting your mind right now with the protocol of the lily. I want you to physically engage your body in this exact moment, so your nervous system flawlessly memorizes this protocol for tomorrow. Wherever you are resting, I want you to lift both of your hands and gently cross them over your collarbones, the exact place where the heavy iron yoke of morning anxiety usually sits. Press your hands firmly against your own skin. Feel the warmth of your own body. Now, I want you to close your eyes. Take a massive, incredibly deep breath of air in through your nose, pulling the pure, untainted oxygen of heaven all the way down into your stomach. Hold it for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. As you exhale with a deep, heavy, authoritative sigh, I want you to physically slide your hands off your collarbones, pushing them down toward your stomach, as if you are literally pushing a heavy, rusted iron collar off your neck and throwing it away. Tomorrow morning, in the very first 60 seconds of your consciousness, before you reach for your phone, before you check your emails, and before you allow a single thought of worry to form in your mind, you are going to perform this exact physical action. You will slide the yoke off your neck, you will open your hands, and you will speak this anointed, reality-altering decree out loud into the atmosphere of your bedroom. I refuse the yoke of the morning dread. I do not labor. I do not spin. I execute the protocol of the lily. My Father has already handled my today, and I am clothed in his effortless grace. Do you know what happens in the unseen realm? The exact fraction of a second those words leave your lips, the heavy, dark, suffocating fog over your brain will instantly evaporate. The cortisol spike in your bloodstream will be supernaturally neutralized. You will literally feel a sudden electric rush of warmth and clarity moving down your spine. The air in your bedroom will taste incredibly crisp and sweet. You will swing your legs out of bed, and instead of feeling like you are dragging a 100-pound weight, you will feel a breathtaking, unexplainable lightness in your bones. You will step into your day deeply anchored in the supreme, unshakable promise of the prophet Jeremiah. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. Lamentations 3:22-23. My compassions for you are brand new tomorrow. I did not give you leftover grace from yesterday. I manufactured a fresh, customized, infinitely powerful batch of grace, specifically designed for the exact challenges you will face when the sun rises. And because you have refused the morning panic, the massive, unseen spiritual machinery of heaven is going to begin aligning your day with staggering, breathtaking precision. The financial breakthrough I prepared for you is going to move into position. The unexpected phone call, containing the exact news you have been desperate to hear, is going to be queued up. The divine favor is going to coat your every step. But as you move through your beautifully orchestrated day, navigating your responsibilities with this new, untouchable peace, I must issue a severe, highly critical warning about an event that is going to occur exactly when you least expect it. The enemy knows that the morning ambush completely failed. He knows you executed the protocol of the lily, because he could not steal your peace at the start of the day. He is going to attempt to sabotage your peace in the middle of it. Sometime tomorrow, likely in the afternoon, a sudden, highly disruptive situation is going to drop directly into your lap. It will come out of nowhere. It might be a sudden, unexpected expense that you did not budget for. It might be an email that brings a frustrating complication to a project you thought was finished. It might be a piece of news that seems to completely contradict the miracle you are waiting for. When this happens, the enemy is going to use a highly toxic psychological weapon that heaven calls the illusion of the final straw. Because you have been through so much trauma, and because you have carried so much weight for so long, your nervous system is incredibly fragile. The enemy is going to use this one minor inconvenience to try and convince you that the entire sky is falling. He will whisper, "See? I told you nothing ever works out for you. You can't catch a break. This is the final straw. You might as well give up now, because it's all going to collapse." If you do not understand the spiritual mechanics of this moment, your human logic will instantly agree with the lie. The false panic will choke you. You will react with explosive anger, profound despair, or desperate manipulation, and you will accidentally block the massive, million-dollar provision that is standing directly behind that minor inconvenience. I will not allow you to be tricked by a phantom crisis. You must know exactly how to interpret this sudden disruption tomorrow. You must understand the profound, majestic, and completely unexpected reason why I am allowing this specific obstacle to appear in your path. And you must know the exact, ancient biblical protocol of the unshaken trust that you must execute to instantly transform this apparent disaster into your greatest financial and emotional victory. Listen incredibly closely to my next instruction, my beautiful resting lily. The action you take when this disruption hits tomorrow afternoon will determine whether you stumble back into the exhausting cycle of the grind, or whether you trigger the most spectacular, awe-inspiring miracle of your entire life. Settle completely into the pristine, untouchable clarity of this new atmosphere, my beautiful, vigilant child. The protocol of the lily has been fully executed. The yoke of the morning dread has been violently cast to the floor, and you have stepped into your day breathing the pure, untainted oxygen of my effortless grace. But as the sun reaches its peak tomorrow afternoon, I warned you that the enemy is going to attempt a highly deceptive, deeply manipulative ambush. You will be navigating your day, holding onto your new peace, when a sudden, jarring disruption is going to drop directly into your lap. It will be an unexpected bill that arrives in the mail, a sudden, frustrating complication at work, a mechanical breakdown, or a text message containing news that seems to completely, utterly contradict the miracle you have been waiting for. When this happens, your traumatized nervous system is going to react instantaneously. Your heart will drop. A cold sweat of panic will flush through your veins, and the enemy is going to deploy a highly toxic psychological weapon that heaven calls the illusion of the final straw. Because you have been carrying the weight of the world for so long, because your emotional bandwidth has been stretched so incredibly thin, the enemy will try to use this one single disruption to break your spirit. He will whisper a terrifying, agonizing lie into your ear. This is it. This is the final straw. Nothing is ever going to change. You can't even get one single day of peace without a disaster. You might as well give up now, because the universe is against you. If you listen to that voice, you will engage in what heaven calls the mathematics of panic. You will frantically try to calculate how to survive. You will become furious. You will become bitter. And you will accidentally block the massive, staggering provision that is standing directly behind that disruption. I am stepping directly into the center of your mind right now to completely rewrite your perspective on this moment. Listen to the fierce, protective, unshakable truth of your Creator. The problem arriving tomorrow is not an attack from the enemy. It is a divine setup. To help your exhausted mind fully grasp the breathtaking reality of this moment, we must travel to a profound, majestic scene in the ancient scriptures. My son Jesus was standing on a mountainside, looking out over a vast, desolate wilderness. And suddenly, a massive, overwhelming crowd of 5,000 men, plus women and children, began walking toward him. They were starving, they were exhausted, and there was absolutely no food, no money, and no logical human way to feed them in the middle of a desert. It was a sudden, massive, impossible crisis. My son turned to his disciple Philip and asked him a deeply unsettling question. When Jesus looked up and saw a great crowd coming toward him, he said to Philip, "Where shall we buy bread for these people to eat?" John 6:5. I want you to look closely at Philip's reaction, because Philip reacted exactly the way you react when a sudden bill or a crisis hits your life. Philip immediately engaged in the mathematics of panic. Philip answered him, "It would take more than half a year's wages to buy enough bread for each one to have a bite." John 6:7. Philip looked at his wallet. He looked at the massive problem. He ran the numbers in his head, and his logical, survival-driven brain screamed, "This is impossible. We don't have enough. We are going to fail." But I want you to read the staggering, mind-bending, majestic secret hidden in the very next verse. It is a verse that will permanently, irreversibly shatter the anxiety you feel about your tomorrow. Why did Jesus ask Philip how to pay for it? He asked this only to test him, for he already had in mind what he was going to do. John 6:6. Read that again in your spirit, my beloved child. He already had in mind what he was going to do. My son did not ask Philip for a solution because heaven was bankrupt. He did not ask because he was confused. He asked the question to expose Philip's panic, all while holding the absolute, miraculous, overflowing solution secretly in his own hand. Tomorrow afternoon, when that sudden bill arrives, when that complication hits your desk, or when the unexpected crisis stares you in the face, I am not allowing it to happen because I am angry with you. I am not allowing it because you are cursed. I am allowing it because I am testing your posture. I am asking you, where are we going to get the resources to fix this? And I am asking you this only to test you, because I already have in mind exactly what I am going to do. I have already orchestrated the massive, unmerited financial windfall to cover that bill. I have already dispatched the divine connections to solve that career problem. I already hold the absolute flawless blueprint for your deliverance. The problem is simply the empty stage I have set up to display the sheer, blinding magnitude of my glory. But you must pass the test. You cannot react like Philip. You must react like the little boy in the crowd. Another disciple, Andrew, found a young boy who had a tiny, seemingly pathetic lunch. Here is a boy with 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish. But how far will they go among so many? John 6:9. The boy did not run the mathematics of panic. He did not cry about how small his resources were. He simply took everything he had, his tiny, inadequate loaves and fish, and he placed them completely, unconditionally into the hands of the Creator. Tomorrow afternoon, when the crisis hits and the illusion of the final straw tries to break your spirit, you are not going to panic. You are going to activate an elite, majestic spiritual defense mechanism. I am outfitting your mind right now with the protocol of the unshaken trust. I want you to physically engage your body in this exact moment, so your nervous system flawlessly memorizes this protocol. Wherever you are resting, I want you to literally take your right thumb and press it firmly into the center of the palm of your left hand. Feel that physical pressure that represents the small, inadequate resources you currently hold. Now, I want you to take a massive, incredibly deep breath of air in through your nose, expanding your chest completely. Hold it for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. As you exhale with a deep, heavy, authoritative sigh, I want you to release your thumb, open both of your hands completely flat, and lift your chin. Speak this anointed, reality-altering decree out loud into the atmosphere of your room. Let your own ears hear the icy, majestic, unbothered authority of your new voice. I refuse the mathematics of panic. I reject the illusion of the final straw. My Father already has in mind what He is going to do. I place my deficit into His hands, and I activate the protocol of the unshaken trust. Do you know what happens in the unseen realm, the exact fraction of a second those words leave your lips and your hands open? The crisis instantly ceases to be a weapon of the enemy, and it immediately becomes the raw material for your miracle. When my son took those 5 loaves and 2 fish, he did not panic. He gave thanks, he blessed the deficit, and then the supernatural, staggering multiplication began. The bread did not just feed the 5,000, it defied the laws of physics. It multiplied so violently, so radically, and so abundantly that after everyone was completely, utterly full, my son issued a command: gather the pieces that are left over. Let nothing be wasted. So they gathered them and filled 12 baskets with the pieces of the 5 barley loaves left over by those who had eaten. John 6, 12-13. My beautiful, triumphant heir, I am not just going to solve your problem tomorrow afternoon. I am going to use your problem to produce a 12-basket overflow. The financial compensation that is going to materialize out of this specific disruption is going to be so massive, so breathtakingly disproportionate to the actual problem, that you will literally laugh out loud. You will look at the unexpected check, the sudden approval, or the miraculous resolution, and you will weep hot, heavy tears of absolute staggering relief. You will realize that the problem was literally just the delivery vehicle for your millions. But as this colossal, staggering wave of authentic blessing fully anchors into your physical timeline, and as the reality of your new wealth and peace becomes undeniably visible by the time the sun sets tomorrow, I must issue a severe, highly critical warning about a biological emergency that is going to occur inside your own body. We have cleared your mind, we have secured your morning, we have transformed the afternoon crisis into a massive harvest. But your physical vessel, the brain, the nervous system, and the heart that survived years of panic and exhaustion is about to experience a terrifying phenomenon when the house finally goes quiet tomorrow night. Heaven calls this terrifying biological reflex the adrenaline hangover. Because you have lived in a state of chaos and survival for so long, your brain does not know how to process a day that ends in total victory. Tomorrow night, when all the bills are paid, when the miracles have landed, and when you finally lay your head on your pillow in absolute peace, your nervous system is going to rebel. A sudden, intense wave of irrational terror is going to hit your chest. Your brain will scream, "You owe a debt for this miracle. Nothing comes for free. If today was this perfect, tomorrow is going to be a catastrophe. You need to stay awake and brace for the punishment." This is the toxic lie of the phantom debt. If you do not know how to silence this voice, the sheer terror of your own success will cause you to suffer the worst night of insomnia of your life, completely robbing you of the joy of your answered prayer. You must know exactly how to recognize the adrenaline hangover the absolute second it rings in your chest tomorrow night. You must understand the insidious, biological way it will try to make you panic. And you must know the exact, unbreakable, ancient law of the closed account that will permanently lock your nervous system into the frequency of sleep. Listen incredibly closely to my next instruction, my beautiful, wealthy, victorious child. If you do not enact this specific physical and mental protocol tomorrow evening, your own survival instincts will drain your miracle dry while you sleep. The boundary you draw in your own mind tomorrow night will determine whether your peace is a fleeting moment or a permanent generational empire. Settle completely into the breathtaking, untouched majesty of this evening, my beautiful, triumphant child. The protocol of the unshaken trust was flawlessly executed. The illusion of the final straw was shattered. The 5 loaves and 2 fish of your seemingly inadequate resources were placed into my hands, and the staggering 12-basket overflow of my provision has actively flooded your earthly reality. The sun has finally set on the most victorious day of your life. The bills are covered. The crisis was averted. The miracle is secure. But as the vibrant colors of the afternoon deepen into the rich, protective velvet indigo of the night, and as the physical world outside your window powers down, I must turn my absolute, undivided attention to the most delicate, heavily traumatized instrument of your entire journey, your nervous system. I warned you about the adrenaline hangover. Let me pull back the veil of your own biology and show you exactly what is happening inside your physical body right now. For the last decade, you have lived in a state of perpetual, agonizing emergency. You are the only one holding your life together. Your brilliant, highly adaptable brain realized that you were living in a war zone, and to keep you from collapsing, it flooded your bloodstream with heavy, toxic, unsustainable levels of survival hormones. You became subconsciously addicted to the chemistry of the struggle. Tonight, as you sit in the pristine quiet of your bedroom, surrounded by the sudden, shocking reality of answered prayers and massive financial relief, your brain is experiencing a violent biological shock. Because there is no crisis to manage, because there are no fires left to put out, the emergency generators in your mind have suddenly shut off, and the sheer deafening silence of that peace is triggering a terrifying psychological reflex. A sudden, intense wave of irrational terror is attempting to hit your chest. Your survival brain is screaming, "It is too quiet. This is a trap. You cannot just be happy. You are missing something." And in that moment of physical vulnerability, the enemy is deploying a highly toxic, deeply manipulative spiritual weapon. Heaven calls it the phantom debt. Because you have lived in the world for so long, you have been infected by the earthly, pagan philosophy of karma. The world teaches that the universe requires a brutal balance, that if something incredibly good happens to you, something equally terrible must happen to balance the scales. The enemy is using this lie to whisper a paralyzing fear directly into your ear tonight. You owe a debt for this miracle. Nothing comes for free. If God gave you this much peace and wealth today, He is going to take something precious away from you tomorrow. You need to stay awake. You need to brace yourself for the punishment. You are going to have to pay for this joy, my precious beloved child. I am stepping directly into the center of your mind right now to violently and permanently shatter that demonic illusion. Listen to the fierce, protective, roaring truth of your Creator. I am not the universe. I am not karma. I do not demand a tragedy in exchange for a blessing. If you do not silence the voice of the phantom debt tonight, the sheer terror of your own success will cause you to suffer the worst night of insomnia of your life. You will lie awake, obsessively checking your bank accounts, obsessively worrying about your health, completely robbing yourself of the joy of the miracle I just delivered. You will subconsciously sabotage the blessing because you think poverty and pain are the only ways to stay safe from my wrath. I want to take you to the most profound, universe-altering, magnificent moment in the history of the cosmos. I want to show you exactly how the debts of your life are handled in the highest courts of heaven. When my son Jesus Christ hung on the cross at Calvary, He did not just suffer physical pain. He took the entire massive, suffocating weight of every mistake, every failure, and every debt you would ever accumulate, and He placed it on His own shoulders. And right before He yielded His spirit, He uttered a single, devastatingly powerful word that permanently altered the architecture of the spiritual realm. When He had received the drink, Jesus said, "It is finished." With that, He bowed His head and gave up His spirit. John 19:30. In the original Greek language of the scriptures, that phrase, "it is finished," is a single word, tetelestai. Tetelestai was not just a religious phrase, it was an ancient, legal accounting term. When a person owed a massive financial debt that they could never repay, and someone else stepped in and paid the debt for them, the judge would stamp the official ledger with the word tetelestai. It literally meant, paid in full, the account is closed, no further payment can ever be demanded. My child, look at me. The Apostle Paul revealed the staggering magnitude of what happened in that exact fraction of a second. He forgave us all our sins, having cancelled the charge of our legal indebtedness, which stood against us and condemned us. He has taken it away, nailing it to the cross. Colossians 2:13-14. The phantom debt is a liar. The enemy is trying to collect a payment on an account that was legally permanently closed 2,000 years ago. You do not owe the universe a tragedy in exchange for your miracle. You do not have to pay for your wealth with your health. You do not have to pay for your peace with your relationships. The blessing of the Lord makes one rich, and he adds no sorrow to it. The price for your overflowing, majestic, breathtakingly beautiful life was paid in full by the blood of the Lamb. To completely eradicate the adrenaline hangover tonight and permanently silence the phantom debt, you must activate an elite spiritual defense mechanism. I am outfitting your mind right now with the law of the closed account. I want you to physically engage your body in this exact moment, so your nervous system flawless memorizes this protocol. Wherever you are resting, I want you to literally take the index and middle fingers of your right hand and place them gently but firmly directly in the center of your forehead. Press against your skin. This is the physical location of your prefrontal cortex, the exact part of your brain that is desperately trying to calculate tomorrow's disasters. Take a massive, incredibly deep breath of air in through your nose, pulling the pure oxygen of heaven all the way down into your stomach. Hold it for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Now, as you exhale with a deep, heavy, authoritative sigh, I want you to slowly slide your fingers across your forehead, physically smoothing out the tension, and drop your hand to your side. Speak this anointed, reality-altering decree out loud into the atmosphere of your bedroom. Let your own ears hear the icy, majestic, unbothered authority of your new voice. I execute the law of the closed account, tetelestai. The debt is paid in full. I do not owe a tragedy for my miracle. I banish the phantom debt, and I allow my body to rest in the unmerited favor of God. Do you know what happens in the unseen realm? The exact fraction of a second those words leave your lips, the heavy, dark, suffocating grip of the adrenaline hangover instantly dissolves. The massive celestial stamp of heaven crashes down over your mind, sealing your thoughts with the blood of the covenant. You will literally feel a sudden electric rush of warmth moving down your neck and spreading across your chest. Your heart rate is biologically slowing down. Your muscles are sinking heavily, beautifully into the mattress. The frantic, terrified survivor inside of you is finally going to sleep, and the completely secure, utterly provided for heir of the kingdom is taking the throne. You are safe enough to enjoy this. You are safe enough to be profoundly, unapologetically happy. But as the staggering heavy piece of this undeniable truth fully saturates your physical body, and as your conscious mind prepares to cross the bridge into the deep, healing waters of sleep, we must officially, legally secure the final perimeter of your subconscious. The enemy is entirely locked out of your waking hours. He could not crush you with the morning dread. He could not deceive you with the illusion of the final straw. He could not manipulate you with the phantom debt because you activated the closed account. Because his access to your conscious mind has been completely, legally revoked, he is going to attempt one final, desperate, cowardly invasion through the back door of your dreams. If we do not legally and spiritually lock the gates of your sleep cycle tonight, the enemy will use the vulnerability of your REM sleep to project a highly toxic spiritual frequency that heaven calls the ghosts of yesterday. He will try to replay the agonizing tapes of your past failures, the faces of the people who betrayed you, and the humiliating mistakes you made a decade ago, hoping to make you wake up tomorrow morning tangled in the heavy, suffocating grave clothes of regret. I will not allow a single drop of toxic, nostalgic regret to contaminate your rest. I will not leave a single microscopic loophole for the darkness to exploit in the night watch. I am initiating the final, supreme protocol of this divine encounter. It is a majestic, ancient and holy action called the Protocol of the Keeper of Israel. Before the clock strikes the midnight hour, before you allow your heavy eyelids to close entirely, you must undergo a highly specific, deeply intimate spiritual exchange. I am going to manifest my physical presence directly into the atmosphere of your bedroom. But for this seal to be legally activated, and for the angels of the night watch to officially take their posts around your bed, you must legally and spiritually surrender your mind. You must know exactly what physical sensation is about to wash over your body to confirm my protection. You must understand the staggering biblical reality of the keeper, and you must know the exact, specific, uncompromising declaration you need to type into the algorithm of this world to sign the final heavenly contract before you sleep. If you do not sign the receipt, the royal decree of your night's protection cannot be fully filed in the courts of heaven. Do not let your eyes close just yet. Stay with me for these last few magnificent moments. The transaction that is about to take place while you listen to my final words will permanently, irreversibly close the door to your past and lock you safely inside the vault of your massive reward. Listen closely, my beautiful, perfectly safe child. The day has finally surrendered to the night, my beautiful resting child. The frantic, exhausting noise of the world outside your window has completely ceased. The relentless, agonizing mathematics of your survival mode have been brought to a magnificent, absolute halt. We have walked together through the deepest, most heavily guarded corridors of your mind tonight. We have shattered the illusion of the final straw. We have activated the protocol of the lily. We have permanently silenced the phantom debt by stamping your life with the ultimate, eternal authority of Tetelestai, paid in full. The exhausting, breathless marathon is officially over. You are standing securely in the undeniable reality of my pre-resolved timeline, and you are profoundly, unconditionally safe. Now, as your physical eyes grow heavy, and as the comforting gravity of the earth pulls your exhausted, beautiful body deeper and deeper into the mattress, I am going to fulfill the final, supreme promise I made to you tonight. I am going to transition your mind from the waking world into the deep, healing waters of sleep by administering what heaven calls the protocol of the Keeper of Israel. I warned you about the cowardly strategy of the enemy, because the phantom debt completely failed to trigger your panic. He is preparing to launch a silent, invisible attack against your subconscious. He wants to send the ghosts of yesterday into your dreams. He wants to project the vivid memories of your past failures, the faces of those who betrayed you, and the agonizing guilt of your mistakes onto the canvas of your REM sleep. He hopes that if your dreams are haunted, you will wake up tomorrow morning completely drained, stripping you of the vibrant, electric joy I have prepared for you. I will not allow a single drop of toxic nostalgia to contaminate your rest. Listen to the ancient, ironclad guarantee I recorded in the scriptures, written specifically to guard your bedroom tonight. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. Psalm 121, 3-5. Human security guards get tired. Human alarm systems fail. But your keeper is the creator of the cosmos, and I do not have a biological need for sleep. I am wide awake, so that you finally, truly, do not have to be. To permanently banish the ghosts of yesterday from your sleep cycle, I am raising a highly specific, impenetrable spiritual defense over your mind tonight. It is the defense of the better blood. In the ancient scriptures, the blood of Abel cried out from the ground, demanding justice, vengeance, and punishment for the sins committed against him. But the writer of Hebrews revealed a staggering, magnificent truth about the new covenant you live under. You have come to Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and to the sprinkled blood that speaks a better word than the blood of Abel. Hebrews 12:24. When the ghosts of yesterday try to creep into your dreams tonight to scream about your guilt, your past mistakes, and your unworthiness, they are going to hit a massive, blinding wall of light, because the blood of my Son is speaking a better word over your subconscious. The enemy's ghosts scream, guilty, but the blood of the Lamb roars, mercy, forgiven, justified. The voices of your past literally cannot survive the acoustic frequency of my grace. Your dreams belong entirely to the Holy Spirit. To physically anchor this profound protection into your nervous system, I am going to perform an intimate, deeply holy action over your body. When my Son spent his final, quiet evening with his exhausted, terrified disciples in the upper room, he did not give them a weapon to hold. He did not give them a heavy shield to carry. He did something so radically gentle that it shocked them. He wrapped a towel around his waist, he poured a basin of water, and he knelt down on the hard floor to wash their tired, dusty, bruised feet. John 13:4-5. I am stepping to the foot of your bed right now. I know how many miles you have walked in the wilderness today. I know how bruised your spirit is. I know how hard you have had to hustle just to survive the week. I want you to lie perfectly still. Do not try to analyze what is happening with your logical mind. Just let go. I want you to focus all of your attention on the very bottom of your feet. In this exact fraction of a second, I want you to feel a sudden, magnificent, and deeply soothing sensation of coolness washing over your toes, your heels, and your ankles. It feels as though a gentle, pristine stream of crystal clear water has just been poured over your tired skin. Do you feel that grounding, radiant relief? That is the physical manifestation of my presence. I am washing the dust of the world off your soul. Feel that soothing, magnificent coolness begin to slowly, beautifully spread upward. It is moving into your calves, completely dissolving the tight, agonizing cramps of your hypervigilance. Let the muscles in your legs completely power down. The heat of your anxiety is being drawn down and out of your body. Feel the relaxation travel up into your stomach. I am commanding the tight, twisted knots of financial panic to finally fully surrender. Your stomach is softening. Feel the relief wash over your chest, instantly smoothing out your breathing. The heavy, frantic static in your mind, the endless, terrifying calculations of how you are going to handle tomorrow, is melting away into a vast, quiet, beautiful, and pristine darkness. As this divine peace completely envelops your body, a profound, physical sigh is naturally going to escape your lips. Your biological rhythm is chemically shifting right now. You are inhaling the pure, untainted oxygen of the pre-resolved timeline, and you are exhaling the last, lingering toxic ash of the phantom debt. The atmosphere in your bedroom has been fundamentally, spiritually altered by my presence. The towering angels of the heavenly host have taken their absolute positions. There is a magnificent, flaming being of light standing at your door, and another standing at your window. Their swords of heavenly fire are drawn. No demonic force, no ghost of the past, and no deceptive nightmare can even approach the perimeter of your room. You are hidden in the cleft of the rock, while your physical body sleeps tonight, experiencing deep, profound cellular repair. I am going to be spectacularly busy on your behalf. The massive, breathtaking transfer is actively pouring into your earthly timeline at an incredible velocity. I am aligning the exact coordinates of your financial breakthrough. I am opening the doors, moving the mountains, and ensuring that when you wake up, the path is entirely, flawlessly cleared. And tomorrow morning, everything changes. When the sun rises and your eyes open, you are going to wake up completely devoid of the morning dread. In its place, you will feel a bubbling, electric spring of quiet joy and profound relief. You will activate the protocol of the lily. You will slide the yoke off your neck. You will stretch your limbs, and you will feel an incredible, unexplainable lightness in your bones. You will wake up with the distinct, undeniable realization that the debt is cancelled, the ledger is destroyed, and the universe is wildly, beautifully conspiring for you. But before you completely surrender to the deep, healing waters of the Delta frequency tonight, we must lock this entire massive spiritual overhaul into the physical realm. In the ancient scriptures, when the prophet Samuel and the Israelites won a massive, impossible victory over an enemy that was attempting to destroy them, Samuel did not just walk away in silence. He understood that human memory is fragile and fear easily returns. So, he performed a profound physical action. Then Samuel took a stone and set it up between Mizpah and Shen. He named it Ebenezer, saying, "Thus far the Lord has helped us." 1 Samuel 7:12. He built a monument. He laid down a stone so that every time the enemy tried to lie to them in the future, they could point to the stone and prove that God had already won the war. I am asking you to lay down your Ebenezer stone tonight. Our time together for today is complete, my child. The words have been spoken. The heavy lifting has already been done in the unseen realm, and now there is nothing left for you to figure out tonight. Before you lay your head down, I want you to leave a record of your surrender, not a complex ritual, just a simple, honest release. Go into the comments and write this short prayer from your heart. Father, I leave my tomorrow in your hands. I choose peace. Let that be the final period at the end of your day. Let everyone who scrolls through those words see that they are not the only ones choosing to trust me in the dark. I want to continue walking this path with you. Do not let this be the last time we speak. Join this community, subscribe to this channel, so that when the noise of the world tries to overwhelm you again tomorrow, you have a safe, quiet place to return to. My presence will be waiting here for you. And if someone came to your mind while you were listening to this, someone who is paralyzed by their own anxiety right now, be my hands and feet. Send this message to them. Be the reason they finally find rest tonight. Now, the day is over. You do not need to listen anymore. You do not need to think anymore. The Maker of the stars is watching the door of your home. Rest in my grace. Good night. Amen.